Tell 1986 we did a tour together with just Butch and for the Texas Sesquicentennial and
well, not with just me. There was a whole mess up. There was like
like
17.
But Jimmy and Joe were with you. It was just you.
Oh yeah. But there were 17 desperate musicians that crawled on a bus with Rod Kennedy.
He was a producer of the Kerrville Folk Festival at the time.
And we spent a month going all over the Eastern and Midwest.
Oh, I had a great time.
I don't know how we survived it.
We did, though, and had a wonderful time. Got back on July the 4th, and we were representing the Texas Arts Council as representatives for the Texas Sesquicentennial.
Easy for you to say.
Butch, we were in tears most of the time from Butch's humor, and of course Bonnie was on the tour too at that time.
I got to tell you, Bonnie was a great inspiration to me on that tour because I noticed she would play poker with some of the guys, and she won every game as I don't know how she figured out some way she could feel the. Is that how you did it?
She had braille cards. She had marked cards.
Braille cards. That's not fair.
Yes,
that inspired me. I tell you, that was just too much. So cool. Yeah. Well, we got started on an outrageously crazy.
Oh yeah.
Bunch of crazy things. One thing I gotta tell you, this is worth the story. This is worth how this thing originated. Me and Joe Gracie, God rest his bones.
Yes, sir.
We were traveling over from Austin over to Kerrville one night, and we were going to set up some sound equipment and stuff to record for some videotaping that we were doing that year, and we got that all set up, and then we were driving back to Austin that night. This is right before the festival started, the day before it started. And as we were driving back on the way over to Fredericksburg, there's this incredible shooting star came right past us, right past the windshield and everything. And it was the weirdest color you ever saw. And we both kind of gasped. And Gracie couldn't talk at that time, but he had his tongue removed for various cancer thing, and he had this little Mickey Mouse pad he'd write on, and then the lift up and make it a race. And so I said, Gracie, did you see that? And he kind of shook his head. Thought, those colors, what was the deal with the colors of that? And he kind of shook his head, and he finally pulled over. I don't know if he didn't pull over. He just sat there and wrote. He wrote once, and I couldn't read it. I had the light on and couldn't read it. And I said, what? He ripped it up. Exclamation point twice. It said monkey bones. I said, oh, satellite. Oh, well, yeah, those monkey bones. But sure, that would make the green color. Anyway, so upshot. Next night, we were telling everybody about that, and Kimmy, his wife, said, oh, monkey bones. Yeah, that'd make a good name for. I said that'd make a good name for a band, and Kimmy said, no, Monkey Tones. That'd be better, Monkey Tones. and then we said, oh yeah, and then we could do songs like tie a yellow gibbon around the old oak. We started switching monkey, put your monkey on my shoulder, whisper in my ear, baby. And of course, anytime you came up with a title where you substitute monkey for something, you have to sing a line or two. And so we got started doing that on the bus, and people would just love it for about 20 minutes, and then they saw that we would not stop, and they started getting crazy. It divided everybody among the ones who just loved all the insanity of it, and the others who just thought it was totally beneath their dignity. But we went on the whole trip. We came up with 1,000 titles, 76 monkeys led the big parade, singing a line or two, and Fromholz would sing, you could hear him singing a mile away, and it was so hysterical, and at one point we all kind of came to we're catching our breath, from laughing so hard, and it was kind of quiet for a moment, and all of a sudden I heard Bonnie up there kind of giggling to herself, and she said, we'd already done a couple of gospel tune titles, I will cling to the old rugged monkey. That was a good one. But it was been quiet for a few minutes, and Bonnie started kind of giggling, and she said, monkeys lifted me, and nothing else with it. And man, I just broke up. And she got into it. She came up with some great ones. Bill, you had some, man.
I had a few. I wasn't as good as some of them.
Well, I think my favorite one that whole unbearable day was David Halley came up with the best one of all. He said, "Down in the baboon docks." And the other favorite one, he came up with the two best. The second best one was Mr. Bojangles.
Yeah, it was alright. It's always been one of my favorite songs, Butches. And I'm going to do this one I did. We recorded, I believe, Bonnie, we did this on Watching Life Through a Windshield. Is that right? Yeah, right. We recorded this song. I'm sure Butch is just rolling dough.
I still owe for that.
Right. I mean, you are. Well, you can talk to Nevada Records.
Okay.
Might make enough to do for you and your kids and to go out to dinner.
All right.
At Salt Lick or something. Anyway, this is a song that I love to sing, and thank Butch for having me up here.
You bet, man.
I'm fortunate. I love playing music, and it's great to be working, but it's also great to not have a gig every now and then, and be able to see your friends and people you love, and it's sort of it's great to be playing, and but it's also great to be hanging out and listening to our friends, so many of them come through Santa Fe, and Robert Earl's coming next month too. Little kids coming through, and anyway. I met her in old Mexico. She was laughing, sad and young and smoky. No one could see. Her favorite poems all agreed. Spanish is a loving tongue, but she never spoke Spanish to me. She was born in Monterey. All the Christmas songs were sung in the old Padre knew that she'd grow up to be. Now saints and sinners, they all agree. Spanish is a loving tongue, but she never spoke Spanish to me. Big one. Like a lion screaming in the jungle. She never fooled with what she could see.
said, if you're from Texas, son, where's your boots and where's your gun? I smiled and said, I got guns no one can see. We laughed at that, we both agreed. Spanish is the loving tongue, but she never spoke Spanish to me.
Let's play it all the way through. I'll do it now. Put it on. So I left her down in Mexico. She was laughing, sad and young in a smoky room that no one could see. Her favorite poem was solid green. They said Spanish is a loving tongue, but she never spoke Spanish. No, she never spoke a word of Spanish to me except adios, yo hero.